Alright, so I see a few people asking me in the comment section, and I'll make a video, what are the best units for farming in the game, and this is pretty much the team. You can make variations, of course, and the team is very free-to-play friendly, just because Global doesn't have many of the farming units that JP has, but in the near future, a few of them are going to drop, so you can switch a few of them. But yeah, let me explain, of course, or else it would not make sense to make a video. I would just post a picture on Twitter and say, this is the team, copy it. So, switching here to the scene, here, Ellie Hawk is an SR you get in the beginning of story. She's actually pretty decent. One of the cards reduces defense and is a single target, but the other card is an AoE, which increases the pierce rate times 3. If you don't know what pierce rate is, it's pretty much what cuts defense and cuts damage reduction from enemies. So inherently, she will hit harder than most units just by having pierce. And triples it. So her pierce on this attack is 90%, which is incredibly high. Escanor has the highest pierce rate in the game, and it's 80. So technically, this attack has higher pierce rate than Escanor. But of course, her attack stat. Let me take a look. I have her at 60, 5-star. This should be what most people have, right? Her attack stat is like 3.8k. Yeah, it's pretty low. It's definitely very low. But at the same time, it's still good for the activities that you're going to be using her, including like boss stage, farming food. Nah, food you just want to use one unit, and it should be like a double AoE. But farming gear, stuff like that. If you don't, if you don't know, always preface that. If you want to farm overnight, because people still ask me, even though people ask me in the comments of the video that I showed. If you want to farm overnight, you click in the thing, you click here. You click here and click OK and you start the mission, and you will farm unlimited until you either die or the game is like your game crashes and stuff like that. Gotta make sure. Going back here. Oh yeah, I need to say how to spot a good how to spot a good farming unit. Most AoE units are good for farming. A few units you just won't be using. Like, it's better for me to take an example from my box, right? If I go here on my box, let me go at the bottom. A unit that's AoE, but it's bad for farming. Okay, Red Gale Thunder. He has an AoE card, but look at the multiplier, 80%. It's an AoE, but it's 80%. And on top of that, his other card doesn't do damage. It is a defensive card. That's a bad unit for farming, even though he is AoE. Blue Gila, not good for farming. She has an AoE card, yeah, but 80%. And if I'm not mistaken, let me actually pull her up. She does inflict Ignite, right? Yeah, Ignite, but it's one Ignite, which is like actual 10%. So her card is 88% because it's 10% of 80, right? It's 88% multiplier of all enemies, but it's not good. And her other card is defensive card, it's AoE. I'm sorry, it's healing. It's defensive card, so doesn't do damage. So that's pretty much how you spot a unit that has AoE, but it's not good for farming. I can probably pull up more examples. This guy, you can make him work. He's an AoE card as well. Not this one, it's this one. But 60%, right? The one thing is that he applies weak point. Weak point is that it triples damage upon landing the damage in an enemy that has a debuff. But for you to debuff people first in an attack, the auto is just not gonna do that all the time, right? So a lot of these units, they're just not good, even though they have AoE. Another one's Blue Arthur right here. Multiplier is pretty low. Actually, it's not so bad. 120. I thought it was like 80. It's not so bad, but actually he's not so bad. Like I thought he had much lower multiplier. Blue Arthur is actually not so bad. I wouldn't recommend it, but not so bad. But going back, I was looking at Gila right here. Yeah, not very good for farming at all. Hauser, he is probably the best farming unit on global, just because he does have the double AoE card and he also inflicts pierce. Which triples damage. Now, technically, Ellie Hawk has higher pierce rate than him, so she should do more damage. And Hauser has like terrible attack stat, but he does boost all the basic stats by 8%, which includes his. And because he has a double AoE card, he's just much better for farming than most units. That just inherently. And then also Reinhardt. Reinhardt, very underrated by the way. I've been seeing people making tier lists, and they always put him at the bottom. Man, you do realize that he has a double AoE skill, so he's like really good for farming. And he increases the pierce rate of all allies by 8% at the end of each turn. Now on JP, right now, I personally use Reinhardt because my farming team, which is this one on JP, which you guys can't do right now for a while, it's this one, right? This team, in the extreme boss stage, it literally takes 2, at most 3 turns to end it, because the team is so broken. This Meliodas is right here, so broken, right? But because of global, the units are not so strong, it's gonna take a little more turns, right? 5 turns for you to get extra 40%, and you gotta remember that Hauser and Elihawk are tripling that, so they're actually getting 120% pierce rate on their cards, right? So, yeah, this Reinhardt's really good. Even if you don't want to use him in the field, which you should, you can use him in the back because his passive still counts. So Reinhardt is really, really good for farming right now on global. Again, I don't know, I feel like he's very underrated. I put Bond here, just because he is coming soon, and if you're watching the video after he comes out, because if they're doing how JP did, which they should, Bond should come out tomorrow by the time we're recording this. So, if he is here, I would take down Elihawk from the team, and put Bond. That's what I would do. The thing with Bond is, where's my Bond? Here it is. The thing with Bond is that Bond has an AoE card which does 150, but his other card is Snatch. It's Snatch, 20% attack and defense from all enemies, and that's really good because the auto farm most of the time should snatch first and then attack, which again, you're going to be weakening the enemy, attacking defense, and then attacking, which is really good, not only because you're going to be beating them relatively fast, but weakening the enemies pretty much guarantees that you're never going to die. Making the enemies just weaker attack and defense wise, even if the run is not as fast as with Elihawk, because Elihawk has double attacks, right? He's just better because he's weakening the enemies, and he's pretty much guaranteeing you to never die because of it. So Bond, when he comes out, buy him. He's really good for farming. Blue DN, she's alright. Like, the thing is that she's a pretty solid, she's a really good unit. PvP, she does really good right now on global because of her ultimate. Becomes a little weaker as time goes on for JP. As a unit rating, the unit rating right here is on JP, right? But PvE farming, she's really good right now on global because she does have an AoE attack, and she does increase her own stats by 6% at the end of each turn. And again, like I said, with Reinhardt, battles tend to take a few turns on global because the teams are a little weaker than what we're used to on JP, right? So her passive might just build up by the end, and yeah, she's pretty solid. It's just that she's gonna do just not as good damage because her multiplier is like 100%, right? And I'm always counting level 1 cards because level 2 cards, even level 2 cards are possible to get when autoing, but it's just very rare, right? And level 3s are never gonna happen. So level 1 cards 100% not as good, while, you know, Elizabeth has 100%, but she does triple her pierce, which makes a big difference. And lowering the enemy's defense is also really good. But yeah, Blue Gopher, I put him even with an asterisk. Blue Gopher is pretty good for farming if you are controlling. If you're autoing, he's not as good, because just like Bond, right, he does rely on oh, click the wrong thing. He does rely on the purple card first, and then attacking, because his attack does weak point. So if the enemy has a debuff, he does extra triple damage. He does triple damage, not extra. He does triple damage, right? So the card becomes 180%, which is really good, right? But he relies on doing the skill first and then attacking. If you're autoing, sometimes he's not going to do the skill first, right? And also you're wasting a skill that could be used by someone else to do extra damage, right? Let's say you have a turn where you use this skill from Gopher, this skill from Gopher, and I don't know, this skill from Elizabeth, right? You could have used this skill from Hauser, this skill from Reinhardt, and this skill from Elizabeth, and it would have been more damage because it's 3 skills instead of 2. So it's a waste of a slot first to then do damage, and that's why it's not as good. But if you are controlling it, it's not that bad because he does the triple damage. And it's like, it's not with the Bond thing, right? It's not as bad if he doesn't purple before he attacks, because his attack still does damage. Gopher just doesn't do damage, man. if the enemy is not debuffed. But yeah, and in the back I put Jericho, both Jericho red and blue, because Jericho increases the attack related stats of red allies by 10%, and the blue one is for blue allies, right? So if your main unit in your team is red, you put the red Jericho. If the main unit in your team is blue, then you put the blue Jericho. But like I said, Hauser is the best one, so red Jericho should be the better one. And you could actually, when Bond comes out, you could actually switch. Let me put Ellie Hawk right here, right? You could actually switch to make it like this. Boop. So Reinhardt boosts all the allies in the back for the pierce rate. But I still think that this would be better with the Jericho in the back right here, right? Just having Hauser, Bond, and Reinhardt in the front. And you should be better off using this as a farming team. Where is Jericho? Nice. Yeah. Also, the last thing is, a lot of people don't know this, and I forgot, I should have said this in the beginning. But if you go in the settings, at the bottom, this will say AI mode or AI intelligence or something. Always put in the middle, because this is balanced attack and defense, right? You always want to go for attack. So your cards always do attack cards. If they have any like non-attack cards in the hand, they will always do the attack cards. Although if you're using the teams I just said, they will always have attack cards, but still, always do the attack as an AI. Oh yeah, that's it. Good luck farming.